Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're here with the JZX90 along Brooklyn Park. Got some tandems going on right now. Hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode. Cool. I hope you're all having a great week so far. And I hope you're all making some good progress at work or at school. Ooh, that was a close one. Today's been a bit of an interesting day. The rent had an issue. There was a banking issue to pay while trying to pay rent last month, and it transferred over to this month, right? We were 3 days late this month as well because of the banking error. And apparently the landlord and my mom agreed upon some $50 cash deal on top of the rent that I didn't know about. And my mom hadn't sent them the money the last couple months. She forgot because of this issue we've been dealing with. And with the banking issue, basically what ended up happening was my mom can send the money to me for the rent, but she can't send it to the landlord. I can send it to the landlord, but for some reason, they're having issues sending and accepting money between the two of their accounts. And so we sent the $550 originally, but because apparently the landlord didn't even get any notification about it or anything, and we sent them the confirmation pictures with reference numbers, and we sent them everything we could, right? We went to the bank, we got all the confirmation. The money was sent, but somehow they got no notification and no way of accepting it, it sounds like. Apparently, I don't really know, but they were on me about that, and so after 30 days, if the person doesn't accept it, the money goes back into your account. And so on the 30th day, which was the 3rd of this month, which I'll admit that's a couple days after the 1st, right? Supposed to pay on the 1st. I didn't realize my mom had sent the money a couple days late, but my grandmother had some surgery that she had to deal with and pay for, and that meant that the rent money was 2 days late. I'm sorry that the rent was late due to a surge, like, it was 2 days, and the weird, like, it was 2 days late last month, and the thing is, how does that even matter? You didn't, even the money that I sent them on the 1st didn't get accepted until, like, and it was like the 3rd week of the month before they accepted any of the transfer. So it doesn't, legally it matters, right? It should have been on the 1st, in my opinion, but in technicality, like, you're not even accepting the money on the 1st, right? Like, I've been living on my own since I was 17. I've never had, with the same landlord for the last 5 years. This is my first time with a new landlord. I've never had this issue when it comes to rent money. You can be a couple days late without an issue. It's ridiculous. And they're trying to say that because of the surgery the 1st month and then the banking issues for these last 2 months, there's a pattern of not paying or whatever. And I explained to them, like, so you already knew about the surgery, I explained it to you, and you said okay. And then last month there was a banking issue, which carried over to this month. And the second I went to the bank 3 times to figure out what was going on, right? I called the bank 2 different times, and I sent them multiple picture confirmations of the money being sent, right? So yeah, I called the bank a couple times, went there a couple times, and had multiple issues. And because it takes 30 days for the money to be put back in our account, it took that long to be able to resend the money. And I didn't want to send the next 1,100 and have it be lost as well. And so the second we figured out that her account is having issues trying to send money to the landlord, basically what's happening is she got a new phone. We re-logged into her banking, right? And then we re-added the landlord as a new contact. And still, it says there's something wrong with this email or account. Please let the individual know, right? Like, let the owner of the account know. And so that's what I did. And they said that they haven't got any email or anything from us, and it's not their problem, and it's my problem, and I have to send them the money. And so I had to figure out how to retrieve the $550 and then send the money from my mom's account to my account, and then just send it all together that way. Not the end of the world, but definitely a pain in the butt. And I had sent them multiple picture confirmations throughout the entire process and multiple updates. I'm not really sure what more I could have done to try and get that money to them any sooner. I did everything I could. And because of a banking issue, they're trying to act as if it's a pattern of not paying. But I'm not really sure how it could be a pattern of not wanting to pay when I've lived on my own for 5 years and never had any issues. And I sent them all confirmations of the money being sent. And not only that, but since moving in, oh, look at this, hey, we're really on this S14 right now, let's go. Since when we signed the contract for the lease, they were supposed to replace the door for the bedroom with... Now, the problem with the bedroom door is the last tenant stole it out of spite. And so there's no bedroom door anymore. They said they would replace it when I moved in, and they still haven't done it, and it's been months. And it's a saloon-style door because of the way the entry to the room is. And it's like a $500 door. There's $700 door from what I can see. I'm not replacing that for them. I'm the tenant. That's up to them, and they still haven't done it. And they haven't put the smoke detector back in, and there's some electrical issues, and one heater for 2 apartments when it comes to the water. One water heater, it's not all done properly. I'm gonna figure out this banking issue, and shouldn't have any more issues with the rent payment from now on. I'm surprised it was happening. Now that I know, I'm gonna make sure it doesn't continue to happen. I've got a little bit of savings, and if I need to, I'll use it to pay the rent a few days early before I get more money, if I need to. It's what I used to do for 4 years. I think dreams are meant to be achieved. I feel like, what would be the reason of having a dream if it's not to be achieved, right? If we die and we go to heaven and God was like, hey, like, what are you doing here already, right? I had all this planned out for you. What are you doing? Go back, you're like, don't wait, right? If God made you watch a movie of all the stuff that he had planned for you, and it was all your dreams, that really gets to me. And I think that's a big thing of what dreams are. Dreams are meant to be achieved. My dream is to spend all my time with my family, every single day, 24/7, with my family, driving cars, having fun playing video games, gardening, farming. I'd love to build a whole town and figure out how to build an eco-friendly, sustainable, self-sufficient town that could be a new layout for the new city instead of the line city that's being built out in Saudi Arabia, somewhere out in the desert, I'm pretty sure, is where they're building the line. I don't think that's the right way of going about it. I have my own way of I have my own version of a dystopian city. And for myself, a dystopian city would actually be more along the lines of something like you would find in the Amazon jungle, right? There used to be a civilization in the Amazon jungle, if you look into it. And they built their civilization on top of terraces, just like Machu Picchu. And I think that if we would build terraces across the community, across our land, then build our foundations for our houses, then build, right, and like start off with a proper terrace foundation for your city, well, everything on top of it should be much sturdier. And not only will that make everything else much sturdier, but my goal is that they talk about how this soil had to have been bioengineered because of how much nutrients is in it, and how it's not natural soil, right? It's due to human intervention, and within 100 years of the people being gone, the forest / jungle completely overgrew, right? It used to be a tamed jungle that you could live within, and now it's just a jungle that's completely overgrown, right? Within 100 years. And so, right, there's stories of people going out there. There was a couple guys who went out on a little boat, and they got, from my understanding, they accidentally entered the Amazon River, and like while seeking shelter or something along those lines, and then they had smallpox, and by getting the people sick with smallpox, within 100 years everyone was dead. And when we went back there and rediscovered it for the first time, and there was no one there, and there was no proof of life, there was no cities, you couldn't see anything, and they said, no, there's no one living here. I remember being a kid, I remember in middle school, I used to ask my teachers, hey, what's going on over there, right? And they're like, no, there's nothing there, it's just a jungle. Like, what are you saying, it's just a jungle? I know there's terraces built there. Just look, just read this. And they're like, no, there's nothing there, it's just a jungle. Right? Like, we discovered it 100 years after what you're talking about. Well, now LiDAR scanning proves that there's terraces. I knew that back in middle school. And so I'm thinking, if we built terraces, it would allow for a better foundation for the city, but also for the soil. Right? If they had if the terraces were able to create some sort of bioengineered super nutrient soil, that within 100 years your invasive plants, which if you look into it, a lot of from my research, I could be wrong, I will fully admit I could be wrong in this, but from my research, there are a few different plants throughout the jungle, the Amazon jungle, that are apparently invasive species and weren't naturally found there originally. I could be wrong again, right? But that's what I heard. That's what I watched. That's what I read. And apparently, between the nutrients in the soil and the invasiveness of the species, it led to them overgrowing the area within only 100 years. So I don't think it's due to actually bioengineered soil. I think it's soil that was farmed properly. And I'm assuming, I'm assuming what happened was, if you farm the soil properly, it should leave more nutrients behind than originally, right? While still getting everything you need out of it. Because you're putting the fertilizer down, you're doing this, you're doing that. It should always be having more nutrients building up in the soil, if you're composting and properly doing it all. And one thing I've always wondered is, where does all the sewage from these older civilizations go? And I know that's an odd question to ask, but today's day, right, what we do is we have all our sewage go into these big tanks. And then some of it gets cleaned and put back into the water system, and some of it just gets, I'm not even sure what they do with it. I'm pretty sure it gets cleaned and put back into the system, but it just doesn't make sense because they're talking about how we're running out of water. So I don't know how we're running out of water if we're cleaning the water. We must not be cleaning it properly because the earth cleans the water, right? When it rains, the water goes into the soil, soaks into the ground, and at the bottom there's a water aquifer where the water collects. Oh shoot! And that's where we dig our well down to that level, right? My parents are living on a well. Beautiful water. It tastes so good. Just down the street there's a natural, in the neighborhood across the way there's a natural spring, and just up the way there's another natural spring. And so our well water is the same water that this natural spring is. The Labrador Water Company, their natural spring is literally 20 minutes. They're not even 20 minutes. It's like 10 minutes away from my house, right? I'm drinking the same water Labrador water bottles drinks, but I'm getting it for free from my tap. And it's freaking amazing. I love well water. And it's replenished by rain. It's that simple. It's so stupid. Just pump it out of the ground and then let it rain it back down on the ground. And then the rain goes back into the ground and cleaned through the soil. And then ta-da, it comes back out the natural spring or the well, and it's a natural process. I don't understand how we can screw this up so horribly. Like someone along the way had to say, hey, let's make money and screw everyone over in the process. And so now they're making tons of money on water and screwing over the entire world. Pisses me the fuck off. That's why I want to build a town. If I can build an entire town, oh my god. Oh shit! Sorry, dude. 180 there. We'll wait for him to come back around as well. And we'll hop in behind the JZX90 here. We'll all go together. Get a nice 3-man tandem. If I can build a town, I could have water and food be free. Right? If I own the entire town, if I own all the houses and all the stores and I'm making all the money, there's enough money there to give all the food to everyone in the neighborhood for free. There's enough money to pay all the employees proper wages. There's enough money to give them free rent or less rent, right? Like, you could build a town that's literally self-sustaining and just fucking proper. There wouldn't even need money if you just did it properly, right? You could just build a community out of trust. But obviously these days you need money, so you use money. Whoop-de-doo. Who gives a fuck if you use money or just trust? It shouldn't be this complicated to make shit work, right? We're all humans. We should all work together. I don't know why we're working against each other. It's so sad to see. We're all the same. And that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you've all enjoyed. I know I went off on a bit of a tangent there at the end of the video, but I like to share my plans for the future. And, I don't know, I just feel like there needs to be some change around the world, and why not give out some ideas, right? Whoops. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, everyone. Thank you all so much for the support.